Hello one and all, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I appreciate you visiting me today as I play Conquest of Elysium 4 by Winter Game Design. For those of you who don't know who they are, they have designed a series of games called Dominions, which is a grand strategy game set in a fantasy-based world of their creation. Has access to a lot of different armies, a lot of different strategies, and just overall a very in-depth world that I've been thoroughly enjoying for years. The Conquest of Elysium series here is actually their follow-up, a sort of a side game that allows you to take all the depth and factions and armies of their world, take the grand strategic element out of it, and then put it into a roguelike. And basically you move your armies around the world map in an attempt to eventually conquer and defeat your opponents. So we'll see more of what it's about when we get into it, but we'll go ahead and get started here. So we're going to start a new game here. And as you can see, lots of options on map size, your society, and advanced options. So your map size is going to basically determine the length of your gameplay. The bigger maps, the longer it'll take before warring factions hit each other and before they get wiped out and have to deal with the rest of the world. It also allows you to get to larger and larger army sizes the bigger the map, so that you can field these massive armies and clash them against your opponents. Can be quite fun, but for today's game we're just going to keep it to a medium map here. Now society is definitely interesting. As you can see, there's pop-ups on the bottom. You can do random, which is basically letting them choose, but each period has different things that influence the map design. So in this case, Dark Ages, a period of time when man first comes to Elysium. Human influence is weak, the forces of nature strong. There are few villages and even fewer cities. So that means the map is going to have less gold production because there's going to be less society in general. However, the map will have more of your primal magic creation and things like that. And so this is part of the charm of their games, the Minions, and of course the game we're playing today, because they have different eras, and during those different eras you have different societies, different factions, and you may even have the same faction in different eras, but because of what happened, they may be a completely different faction in later eras. For instance, there is a faction that in the early era was your standard human empire, but eventually turns to necromancy, and in the later eras becomes a massive undead army instead. So very cool thing. But today we're going to do a random. Again, we're just doing a taste of the game. I don't have any overarching plans on how this game's going to go. We're just going to do that. Down here you have advanced options, so you could do allied players, have groups of players working together if you want to do that as a multiplayer game. You can enable score graphs, which will only show at the end of the game normally, but you can check it at any time. This can be used as a form of cheat though, because you can then see where your standing is versus other factions and use that as a general gauge of strength and whether you can take out an enemy. It may cause you to be a little bolder than you should normally be, because again, this game is about a roguelike kind of environment, so it's always about scouting and learning about your environment, learning what the threats are, and making sure that you're able to overcome them. So common cause, basically the way the game works is you lose once you lose your commander, and the game also can lose if you lose your citadel. So if you don't have a citadel or commander, then in this case this will cause it to allow you to continue playing, but we don't need to worry about that. And then wilder, there's a lot of mobs on the battlefield that you can fight to get stronger, gain resources, or most of the time, as you'll see, they're just there to annoy you so that you can't just leave your forces unattended. You have to constantly look out for these random threats. But anyways, we'll go to the next part here. This is where we choose who we're fighting. For this, we're going to choose 3. I like to have a total of 4 in the realm, just because that to me feels like a nice round number. And you can see your difficulty can go from Piss Boy to Emperor. They're currently set default at Jester. They are pretty tough, but we're going to set them all to Knight today, and we'll see whether I'll live to regret that or not. change your color, and then the class. So as you can see, these represent all the different armies that currently exist in the game. And when I say they play differently, I truly do mean it. Example, this Baron, if you hit the info, has a bunch of text here for flavor, but kind of gives you an idea what that army looks like. But then you show abilities. Starts in a well-fortified castle, 25% increase to gold, 25 increase to iron, which is the other resource in this game, and we'll go over that as we come across it. Conscription yields soldiers from settlements and ancient forests once a year, which means that every time you have a settlement or ancient forest once a year, you'll get free soldiers from that. And the Baron and High Lords can raise levies in villages and towns, allowing you to defend your towns with troops that normally wouldn't exist. So that's a more traditional start. Then you have your, we'll go with somebody that's similar here, just as a comparison, Senator. So this is kind of like your Roman type senator and everything like that. And as you can see, they've got some different ones. They're getting more gold in trade per. Watchtowers can be used as citadels, which there are different structures you'll see. But then you have access to augurs and revelers, which are special units. Senators can proclaim himself emperor if he conquers the capital, and then access to more wizard mercenaries even without having a magic library. So they got a difference, and the difference even goes down to the actual troops that they use. So another popular one is the barbarian, because they're a nice straightforward race. Their troops are cheap and strong. They don't have a lot of armor though, so they do tend to die. And you'll see why that matters in this game as we go. Barbarian camps are defended by a totem pole, and then spirit guides and enemies collect magical herbs, and they can do rituals to summon ancestor spirits. The magic in the game is quite in depth, and I really thoroughly enjoy that as well. So what we will do though is we'll go ahead and select something that I think would be fun here. So we're going to go ahead and select ourselves the Demonologist. So we'll go ahead and hit the info button. You can read up here if you'd like to see what I'm getting into. Feel free to pause the video if you need to. But their abilities start in a well-fortified citadel. But what's cool is you collect sacrifices from hamlets. And I mean cool, not sacrifices are cool, but cool as in this is different than all the other armies. I do want to make sure everyone knows that sacrifices are definitely not cool. So please keep on being cool people. But yes, so they collect sacrifices from hamlets, villages, and towns, and then they can use sacrifices to summon and bind demons or open infernal gates. So you get your armies primarily through the summoning of demons. You can still hire some regular troops, fairly generic. They're not that great. They're just a way to get started. But once you start getting up into your higher levels, you start getting the resources you need, you can start doing these summonings. And then the way you do the summonings is you select to cast a spell, you hit end turn, and then it'll tell you what the result is. And if you use the bare minimum number of sacrifices needed to do the spell, your chances of success are lower. And if you fail to bind the demons, then they will actually attack you. So you can summon a massive horde of demons, and then it's just like your Pokeball. You wait for it, and if it doesn't shake twice, then they're going to come and attack you. So sometimes overpaying for your sacrifices to get a safer summons is going to be good. But you can get some really powerful units that are unique to your class here. So we're going to go ahead and run our Demonologist here. So we'll go ahead and select them. And so you see it says there, and then I'll put random for the others, so we won't know what they are until we run into them. You could set your teams here, but we're not going to do that. All right, so let's go into the game. So creates the world. World is always unique. So here we're going to go ahead and enter my name. All right, so this is your events. So right now it's just got recruitment offer. So a captain has shown up and is now available for 50 gold. We're not going to be able to do much about that, but other times there'll be world events that'll occur or battles that'll occur, and you can actually see the results here, and you'll see that come up. So this is your map interface. As you can see, you got your menu options up here. Most of these you're not going to use. It's interesting because this game actually has 6 different planes you can play on. For the most part, you're going to stay here on the Earth realm, Elysium realm, but you're going to see that there's different places you can go. From what I remember from reading, some of these planes are where your different units you summon come from. So my demons are actually coming from a different plane, and depending on where I am in the world map, that'll relate to what I'm seeing here. So on your right here, you see obviously your name. You see it's midsummer, so the game runs in seasons. Every turn is generally a season, and so you'll go through and the world will change when it gets to the winter months. Snow will be on the ground. It takes more movement points to move across the world. However, things like lakes and rivers will be frozen over, so you can walk across them. So there's some interesting things to say with that. This is your current income, so I'm making 6 gold a turn. I have 26, so therefore I can't buy that commander we saw. Iron, I'm currently not making any. Trade, I don't have any. However, if you were to have trade, you could actually change your trade. It doesn't allow you to show anything there, but basically you trade iron for gold or gold for iron, so that you could actually use your trade points to supplement whichever one of these incomes you need to. And then my special one is sacrifices. I've got 1, and 1 per month is being given to me because of my ownership of towns here. As you can see, the hamlet here at the bottom, if you look at the bottom of the screen, gives me 2 gold coins and then 1 sacrifice. These farms don't have enough people to offer sacrifices, but they do give me a gold each. So then you've got your various things, so you can do recruit units. This is where you can see, like I said, you get your very generic units here. Your spearmen, swordsmen, archers, crossbows, heavy infantry. And if you right click on them, you can actually get their stats. And as you can see, they have a lot of different stats. In this case, he has 6 hit points, 4 strength, 4 morale, magic resistance armor, and then kills. So every unit you have will have a history of kills. But as they take damage, so he has 6 hit points. If he takes 2 hit points in damage, he could suffer an injury. It could be, say, a lost arm, in which case he'll have a minus to his stats, and those will show up down here. There'll be a variety of icons that will show you what your units have. In this case, he just has shield, which you can then right click on as well and show that it reduces incoming damage by 0 to 1. So things that hit him can do that. So as you can see, he's got a spear, shows initiative, determines who strikes first, your range, and damage. So as they move around in the battle, they'll actually move, they'll attack based on their initiative and range, and they'll do this damage, which is generally a wide-ranging number, so it can be pretty swingy, but that's also taken into account that there's armor that reduces damage, the shield that reduces damage, things like that. So as you can see here, he's got 1 to 4 damage with the spear. The swordsman has 1 to 6 damage, but strikes second, obviously, because spears are longer and can hit first. Otherwise, you can see they're identical here. But as you can see, spearmen are easy to make because they don't require any iron. Your swordsmen require 5 iron per unit of 5. So, and they are always bought in blocks of 5 for this here, except for the catapult here. And as you can see, they all have different things. So your archers have your bow and short sword, and as you can see, they're all pretty much the same. They don't have a shield, but the bow is nice because it has a range of 5, so it can hit targets at a range, which will sometimes be your own troops when they get into firing. But then you see crossbowmen, they do 1 to 5 damage at a range of 5, so they're able to punch through armor a little bit better. But again, these are all extremely basic troops. Your heavy infantry, though, have 2 armor, so if you look at the tooltip at the bottom, incoming damage is reduced by the armor value minus 0 to 1 before dealing, so it's going to reduce damage by 1 at a bare minimum. It can do 2 on average as well, because it's basically got a random chance. It's got a large shield, which reduces incoming attacks by 0 to 3, so between that and its armor, it can block up to 5 damage per strike. And considering they only do 6 damage, that could mean that they can take up to 8 hits before they die against a broadsword at max damage. But they are slow, so they have 2 action points per month. What that means is that moving around on the world map with heavy infantry means you won't be able to go as far because they're weighed down by all that armor that they've got. And then you've got your captain here. So captains are unique in that they have the same stats as your guys, so they could be out in the battlefield fighting, but they're also an officer capable of commanding armies, so they're the only ones that can actually move around on the world map with units. As you can see right now, I have myself, the Demonologist, which we'll get to all of this in a moment, and then I have currently Falfaroon the Cultist. who is basically my other commander. So with these, I can field 2 separate armies that can wander the world map and basically conquer territories. As you can see, I've got this green little grid around the territories that are currently mine. But that's the only way we could do that. So having these commanders is important in order to extend your influence and damage, I guess, as it were. So right now I've got my Demonologist and I've got my Cultists here. Right now I don't think they have anything in their armies, but they are powerful units in their own right. As you can see, I am a standard unit. I've got 5 hit points, so pretty weak there. And then, as you can see, my abilities, I have a staff. Generally speaking, I don't want to get into a point where I use it, but I do have the ability to cast spells. Infernal Magic level 2, and these are the spells I know. So I can do Strength, which gives plus strength to my people, which, for those that want to know, Strength is used to break free from entanglements and resist stun effects. We've got Blood Boil, which does 1 to 15 damage, fire. Doesn't affect inanimate beings. Magic resistance negates. As you can see, lots of little details that go into each of these. So fire doesn't affect, say, stones and stuff like that in a normal thing. I have the ability to summon imps, but as you can see, I can summon 1 to 3 imps for a maximum of about 50 in a single battle. And when you get to the later stages of the game, you may have the ability to reach that limit with the amount of time it takes for some of these battles. But as you can see, it takes 2 combat rounds to cast, so you'll cast it, you'll wait a turn, and then you'll have the actual imps. And then you got Hellbind Heart, which, as you can see by clicking on it, I can click which ones I want him to cast. But this one enslaves, so it will take enemy units for our own. So these are spells he can cast. He's got 3 of 3 memorized. Right now, I think I want to put the Blood Boil on instead of Strength. And it is random, so you'll see a lot of the randomness in this is you can set a basic strategy, but then you leave them to execute, and that's actually part of the fun of the game as well. So there's that. So that's the recruit units. This is the trade admin. Oh, this is where you can buy, but we don't have any trade, so we have 0 trade. But you can buy iron for 1 gold per iron, sell iron, buy sacrifices, sell sacrifices, and you can buy at overprice, which I don't. Yeah, so buy iron at 2 gold per iron or sell iron at 1 gold. I'm not 100% sure on the trade. That's something I don't use that often in any advanced form. I know the basics of it, and it gets me what I need, so that's what I generally use it for. And then the messages, this is just so you can show what happened for the previous round. So now we're on the world map. As you can see, there are... Oh, well, I accidentally moved my guy. But I took over this town, so that's not a terrible thing. So I now go up to 2 sacrifices a turn, and I have control of it. But I'm going to move myself back to protect myself. WASD keys are used to control where your movement is and everything. But as you hover over, you'll see what the terrain is. So in this case, Lion Tribe Village. And then the gray squares represent neutral units. So there's a Lion King and 3 Lion Tribe Warriors here. If you right-click, it'll show you their formation, and you can right-click on the units to find out what they do. So as you can see, this Lion King has 7 morale, 8 hit points, and hits with a mace. So he's a back rank fighter because he'll try and stay in the back rank because he's a leader. And then you have the tribal warriors here. So as you can see, they're fairly similar to our units here, but they get certain they may get certain bonuses from their particular leader and tribal type. So, but yeah, so this one's a fairly easy one to take over, and it gives me another sacrifice. So that might be something I do. In the sea, we have 2 shallow dogs. As you can see, they're amphibious, so they can come up into land, and they're fast. So basically, pretty weak unit overall, but they do bite for a good amount of damage. So it's pretty easy to fight, but they're on water right now, so we can't touch them. Now, farm is going to be a captain and a halberdier, and you can see the halberdier can do a lot more damage, 2-handed weapon. But no shield means that it'll die pretty easily too. But then you get to an iron mine, and you can see that it has an archer set up in a elevated position, and it has spearmen and an archer. So that one will be a bit tougher to take. So the ones, and then this one, of course, has 10 units, including a tiger, which is fast. And as you can see, it has 2 attacks, so it'll bite and claw. So it's a little bit more powerful as units go. So the initial starting area is generally going to be a little bit weaker, and then it gets much more powerful as you go through. So I want to take an army, and I want to kind of take this Lion Tribe village. So what I need to do is I need to select him, and I need to go to here where I go transfer units. And currently I have him selected as green, and then everybody that's going to be in his army will be selected with these X's. So right now in my army I have 5 crossbowmen, and it looks like 8 swordsmen. So that's what I'm going to do. That's all going to be tied to green, as you can see here. So we're going to take our whole army, and just in case you were unsure, because it can be a bit confusing when you first play, this right here will tell you how many units you're commanding. So you're commanding 13 units. So we've got him there. So we're going to we're going to left click, and then left click again, and now it's swords. So now I can't do anything else until we hit end turn, and that will resolve that battle. And then as you can see, in these little things represent his movement action points. So in this case, once you hit a battle, you use up the rest of your action points, but otherwise you could do what I did with my you gotta make sure you right click to select. You could do what I did with my commander here, where I did the 2 action points, and then I have the 1 left over now because I moved here and moved back. And again, like I said, when it gets to snow, it'll use more action points per move. However, if you have at least 1 action point left, you usually can still move onto a spot. So with my remaining action point, let's take a look at the special powers. This is kind of what I was telling you about. So these are the demons that I can sort of raise, right? So right now I've got 1 sacrifice. In order to do the lesser ritual of mastery, I would need 20 sacrifices to do that, and that'll let me learn new spells. The actual spells I know are Demon Summoning and Infernal Horde. So as you can see, 150 for the Infernal Horde means it'll be a little bit before we get it. However, the Demon Summoning, the more human sacrifices used, the greater chance of successfully binding the demon. Demons do not like being bound, and if the binding fails, they will attack at first opportunity, and that'll bring up basic demon troops that you can use and fight. And you can modify your sacrifice level here. So generally speaking, early on, you want to do the 50% increase, so 150, and then 30 sacrifices is what I need for that. And then you can set them to repeat, so if you get a cultist, and you just keep them summoning and summoning and summoning so they can build an army, and then your actual leaders will come back and pick up the units as they come available and stuff like that. Otherwise, you can sentry him, which is in any turn-based game, just allows him to go to sleep so you don't have to constantly make decisions for him. But at this point, I think we're ready to end our turn. So as again, you'll see it's midsummer of year 0. We hit end turn, and it shows a fight, so you can hit OK. And what it'll do is it'll actually show the fight. And as you can see, battle rounds are done 1 by 1. And this is at the default speed, so you can actually see what's happening. So cultists cast strength, and now my guys are swinging after their guy swung. And then we've got just their leader to kill. And as you can see, we killed him. And as you can see, it has all the stats on the left. If you want to read through it all and everything like that, you can change the speed, which that one went pretty quick, but we'll show you where the speeds are. And basically it gives you a lot of details on that. Ooh, bears are tough. They got 28 hit points. These guys will probably ruin our day if we were to attack them. But as you can see, they're all sitting here. They're defending spots. The bear's wandering, so the bear will come in and take your villages and things like that. So that's going to be kind of annoying, but it is what it is, right? But now we've got this village here. We're getting 2 more gold for that. We're also getting 1 more sacrifice, so we're at +3 each turn. So we are in a better position now. At this point, we have 36 gold. We still can't recruit any units because we could recruit a catapult, but that's not what we want. But we need at least 50 gold in order to recruit units, so we'll probably have to wait before we can do that. But now at 10 gold a season, you'll see it's late summer now. So I guess it's 2 per season, but it's late summer now. Each turn we will basically get our gold. So we're getting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just like it says there. So also, farms make gold during the warm months, but when it comes to winter, they typically do not produce gold. So just those little touches, again, show that they put a lot of detail into this game, even though it looks fairly simple. So in this case, we took our Lion Tribe village. We're going to go ahead and do some exploring. I don't want to be around for that bear. The farm would be nice. And I think we can take the captain and halberdier pretty easily, so we're just going to do that. And as you can see, the world map gets revealed, so you can start seeing more and more of the map as you go through. And again, as you can see, the map can be fairly large. This is just a small portion of the world. You got the ocean, which will generally surround it and everything like that. Click the middle mouse button, allows you to scroll the map and everything like that, but right now we don't have much to look at, so... Alright, so we've done that. I currently don't have enough sacrifices or anything to do here. If I lose my Demonologist, I lose the game, so he's going to stay at the Citadel, which will... Let's see if I can see... Citadel's my capital. I believe it has default troops, but I can't remember in this game. It's been a little bit since I played it last. So. But we're going to go ahead and hit end turn, and we're going to see what happens with that farm. And as you can see, here's the controls. So if I pause, I can use that to kind of look at what's going on and see. Or I can go here, and it'll just go a little bit quicker, as you can see there. And you can then take a look by pausing. You can see the stats. Crossbowman attacks, takes 3 points of damage. Takes 3 points of damage. Attacks with crossbow takes 17 points of damage. So there are critical hits and things like that. Whole wealth of articles on the inner workings of their game systems. The Winter design has been doing their game system for quite some time, and there's a lot of factors that go into the math and everything like that. And it's actually a pretty fascinating read if you're really into their game series. But we go ahead and unpause, and as you can see, it's done. Autumn's here. The bear decided to follow me. I don't know if that's good or not. But we're at 47 gold, so we almost have enough gold to buy a unit. There's no upkeep on units, so it's nice. And as you can see, it's early autumn, year 0. Excuse me. So now we're looking at our movement here. I'm not going to do anything yet. I'm going to keep waiting for those sacrifices to come in and eventually do that. But now we've got hills here, and as you can see on the bottom, it says 2 boots. So that takes 2 action points in order to walk on them. Mountains, of course, will take 3. Jungles will take 3. So in this case, I'm going to just walk up here to see what I can see, because get some scouting in. And as you can see, there's just a coal mine. This one has an ogre and an ogre chieftain. They have a lot of hit points, even though they're a smaller icon. So 22 hit points, and they hit for 1 to 7 plus 8 damage. So generally speaking, if they hit you, they're going to kill you. So these guys are going to be tough, but you can swarm them and keep hitting them because they have no armor. So you just have to get through and hit them, and then you can start wearing them down. But 28 hit points means it can be a bit before you take them down, and they're going to do their damage before then. So, but a coal mine is nice because it does give you iron, just like this iron mine gives you 2 iron. And there's different levels of that. But right now we're not getting any iron, so we can't get any of those swordsmen or advanced troops right now. But he's moved, and as you can see, the early turns take little to no time. Let's see. We'll see where this bear goes next round. So, yep. See, and the bear has taken over my Lion Tribe village. As you can see, the wildlife can be quite annoying in this game. Right now, I can't kill the bear, and then my only army right now is this one. So, what will probably end up happening is when the bear is away and I don't have to worry about him, I will probably allow my unit to walk out, claim it, and the next round walk back. But we'll get him a little bit stronger here in the meantime. We got 50 gold now, so we're going to go ahead and recruit Spearman first. my Demonologist is quite good. So as you can see, it automatically takes it out. And then if you hover over, it says 1 Demonologist and 5 Spearmen here. So I'll go ahead and select this guy. And I kind of want to see what's near me. That may be a bit much for my units to take, but I'll go ahead and do this here. So pretty rocky terrain. Not the best in the world, but you know, we can keep going. We're getting those sacrifices. It sucks that he took that, but that is what the bears do. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. Bears moved away. Now we've got wolves to deal with, and there's 7 of these little guys. They do 1 to 6 damage, and they only have 4 hit points, so we can take them. They're just going to do some damage to our units. Speaking of which, let's take a peek at our army here. So right now, I think a couple of our swordsmen took damage, but let's see if any of them have any negative effects because of that. No, it looks like they all did okay. And you can see what their kills are here. So I bet you my crossbowman has 1 kill here. If I can... 1 kill there. So they're going to do their damage. I like the crossbowmen in this game just because of the extra damage they can do and everything. Alright. Well, let's go ahead. I mean, I kind of want to take this coal mine, but I do know ogres are particularly nasty. 2 archers, 1 on the high ground. May not be so bad, but you know what? Let's do it. Let's attack them. See if we can get that going. I'm not going to wander up here because the bear can come in and attack at any time, so I don't want to deal with that at this time. So we're going to go ahead and just hit end turn and see what the bear and the wolf do. Now, this will be interesting. So we'll leave it at regular speed so you can see that took some serious damage there. And as you can see, my cultist cast Spontaneous Combustion, which isn't as spontaneous if it's directed, but you know, that's something to be said. But as you can see, we lost a crossbowman because their archers took a toll on ours. But overall, we did take the mine, so we got another 2 gold coming in, and now 2 iron. And as you can see, the iron does stack up, so we'll be collecting that. And that bear continues his rampage through the territory. The sea dogs have done some damage as well. So it looks like my unit here will probably have to march back. So now, as you can see, it is now winter, and as you can see, there's snow terrain up here. And all of this is mountains, but yeah, it won't show right now. But basically, we apparently are in a more temperate climate, which is why we have jungle and savanna. So we won't be affected by the winter as much as some of the more northern climes. So, all right, so let us go ahead and move here. Takes 1, 2, and then since we're getting near the end of the video, let's try and take on some bears. Let's see what happens. I think the sea dogs I can take on with my commander here. So let's just make sure we do the transfer of units. So you see I can click them individually. If you hold down shift, you can click just like you would expect. So wherever you last clicked, hold shift, and then you can click and collect a bunch of units. But now I've got a small stack of units, so yeah, YOLO, right? So yeah, the 2 sea dogs, I should be fine. So I'll just move into them. And that is the end of this turn, so let's find out if we're still in the game. So yeah, that was a big hit from that crossbow, 14 damage. We have higher initiative, so we get to strike first, but as you can see, those bears are doing a number on my guys. And now we've hit them on the flank, and we managed to take them out. So not as bad as it could have been, for sure, because we have the numbers. Now this right here should be about the same. As you can see, they move 2 spaces because they're fast, which can be extremely useful later when you have cavalry and things like that. So, but you know, we've taken them out, so pretty happy with the result there. We got 2 of our things back, and we just have 7 wolves to deal with. So with that, we're going to end our recording here today. But obviously, feel free to stick around if you want to see more in this series. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be more than happy to add more to it. Until then, I appreciate you guys coming to see me, and I'll talk to you next time.